All right, so welcome everyone to this class on Pirke Avos, Ethics of Our Fathers. Welcome everyone to this class on Pirke Avos, Ethics of Our Fathers. We're holding by Chapter 2, Mishna 13, Part 8. Again, we are in Ethics of Our Fathers, Chapter 2, Mishna 13, Part 8. So we just finished last week. We finished speaking about what it means to have a good eye, right? We said that the Mishnah says that go out and discern what is the proper way which a man should cling, right? We spoke about that, what it means, what it means to go in the proper way. Rabbi Eliezer said, what's the proper way is a good eye. Comes along Rabbi Yeshua, and Rabbi Yeshua says, a good friend. Now, right, the obvious question is, so what does that mean? Right, what does that mean? What does that mean that a person, should have a good friend? Why is that such a good thing? Why is that such a crucial thing? So one explanation is that a friend over here again, you have to remember, here we're talking about ethics, right? We're talking about something that is, it's good for a person, keeps them on the straight and narrow path, so to speak, whether a Jew or a non-Jew. And so we have to see, how this essentially, is going to apply. So one explanation is that a friend is somebody not just going to, say yes to everything you say or go along with everything you do, right? But a friend is going to be somebody who's going to rebuke you when you need to be rebuked. A person may have to put you in your place, right? When they see that, you do something wrong. So a friend does not necessarily mean just a yes person. Now, a person may think, well, if we think similar things, we get along well, that's all that matters. Now, but what if a person, is doing the wrong thing, right? They're going down the wrong path, so to speak. Right, so we could ask the question, okay, so if a person, God forbid, is going down the wrong path, so what should a friend do? Right, it gets complicated, which, I definitely understand, depends what it is, right? But a friend, if they're really a good friend, they're going to try and help you, right? They're going to, try and steer you, in the right direction. Now, what's the one thing? I mean, probably many things, but what's the one thing most people do not want to hear? Most things a person does not want to hear is that they've done something wrong, that they're going down the wrong path. This is detrimental. If we're talking in spiritual terms, and the whole objective of our lives is to get close to God. That's the objective. Right? Doing the mitzvahs, whether we understand them more or less, doesn't matter. I still got to eat, the 10 kilos of matzah or 35 pounds of matzah, in 25 seconds and whistle Dixie and all that. God says, I don't care. You got a problem with your stomach, this, that. Shut up and eat the matzah. That's what's going to draw you close to me. Shaking this lulav, right? Here's my lulav. You're shaking your lulav like this and like that. And God says, that's what's going to draw you close. Again, we have to understand it. We have to try and understand it, certainly to the best of our ability. But the bottom line is, either, as we mentioned many times, either a person's going in the right direction or you go in the wrong direction. It's really, there's really nothing in between. Meaning, either I'm doing the right thing, well, whatever level, or God forbid, doing the wrong thing. right? I'm not neutral like Switzerland. I'm not happy being mediocre. That's not what we're interested in. We're interested in being the best Jews, JIT, Noahides, whatever you want to call them, right? To the best of our ability. So if we're not going in the right path, or maybe, God forbid, we're doing something terribly wrong. So a good friend is somebody who rebukes you. Why are they rebuking you? Why are they giving you a hard time? Not because they hate you. If they hate you, they wouldn't be friends with you. But why are they giving you a rebuke? Because you're going the wrong way. You're going down the wrong path. You're putting up barriers between you and your Creator in heaven. Right now, even if a person still had, secular friend, family, whatever, right? So they might also give you a rebuke. Not for this reason. Not because, oh, look, you ruin your relationship with God, so to speak, we'll speak about. Right? But to say, listen, look what you're doing over here. Look at the negativity you're doing. Look at the problems, the pain you're causing. They can also say that. That has nothing to do with Torah mitzvahs per se. Person, God forbids, it's gambling. It's an alcoholic. They've gone way out of control. Secular people also will say, look what you're doing over here. You're ruining your life. You're ruining your life for, your spouse, your kids, whatever. They say, look what you're doing. This is total negative behavior. Now, they could also be telling you, again, and nothing to do with God over here. Well, why could they be telling you this? Because they care. They don't want you to see you ruin your life. Or God forbid, ruin other people's lives. Right? So a good friend over here is not somebody who just says yes to everything you do. Right? And won't help you try and improve. Again, what's the most important thing here? What's our goal in life? What's our purpose? So our purpose in life, the Ramchal says in passage just in Derech Hashem, right? In the way of God, says the same thing. You have to enjoy God's goodness. So how do you enjoy God's goodness? You enjoy God's goodness the way He wants. The way He wants us to draw close to Him. So a person can say, how do I do that? How is that possible? Well, very good. God gave us a book, manufactured it Himself. It's called the Torah. God gave us an opportunity to draw close to everybody. Non-Jews also. Even though, they don't have an obligation to convert. They can do what they want. But they have to keep what God says. They have to keep whatever the Noahide laws are. Right? That's what they got to do. So everything we do, and this is kind of, this is the way we have to live. But not so easy. And that is, every second of every day, we got to be careful what we do. We got to be careful what we say. We got to be careful what we look at. We got to be careful what we think. A lot of things. Very intense. Does that mean we walk around with, glum faces and we're always upset? No. Person can be very happy, no matter what's going on. But you got to pay attention. That's what we're doing in this world. Got to pay attention. And if we don't pay attention, God's going to knock us around. He may knock us around anyway, but you got to pay attention. You got to be able to see. We have to understand the repercussions for my actions. So someone who just says yes to whatever you do, they're not helping. On the other end, you got to say, but I don't want to hear rebuke. Nobody wants to hear they do anything wrong. Nobody wants to hear that, right? Who wants to hear, oh, you messed up this, oh, you messed up that? And let's say it's not something necessarily so bad, but here you messed it up. All the more so if it's bad. You don't want to hear you messed up. What are you going to do? You're going to tell that person off. You're going to say, mind your own business, this, that. But they're there to try and help. And it should be, person's not ranking on someone just to rank on them, just to make fun of them. They want to help. They want to help steer you in the right direction. I'm going to say, but not everyone has the ability to rebuke. The Torah says, "Ocheach tochiach es amisecha." Right? The Torah says, Book of Leviticus, chapter 19. You got to rebuke your fellow. Yeah, but the verse is very specific. You have to rebuke amecha, right? Ocheach tochiach es amisecha. Your people. So Jews have an obligation to rebuke other Jews. Now, there's a question, how we're supposed to do that. What if they don't listen? Right? This is a huge topic. Not necessarily going to get into. Right? It's a huge topic. If someone, whatever you say, a person's not going to listen. Does that mean I'm exempt across the board from giving rebuke? The answer is no. Even if they're not going to listen. Even if 100% they're not going to listen. Sometimes you got to say something, regardless. They don't like it. Right? I was telling someone today about a certain thing. I said, yeah, a person doesn't like it, then go eat kugel. As my Rebbe would say, he says, what do you mean go eat kugel? So I explaining my Rebbe when he said it one. Right? So I use that a lot. Yeah, a person doesn't like it. Okay. Not everyone has to like everything. Too bad. Right? Sometimes the truth is hard to hear. But rebuke, even if no one's going to listen, doesn't really matter. Some people would say today, and it is true, we don't know how to rebuke today. We certainly don't know how to give rebuke. There's a story, I just, throw this out there. There's a story with Chofetz Chaim, that the Chofetz Chaim, had a student in the yeshiva was leaving, and he found out that the student smoked on Shabbos. So the Chofetz Chaim wanted to see the student before he left. And Chofetz Chaim, when the student came in, he grabbed his hand very tight. He was sobbing. And he just said, Shabbos. Kedusha Shabbos, the holiness of Shabbos. And that's all he said. He didn't say anything else. And the student left. And the student left the yeshiva. But that student said that rebuke that came from the Chofetz Chaim, he never smoked again on Shabbos. He never desecrated Shabbos after that. Now, he didn't stay in the yeshiva, did whatever he did, but that he wouldn't do. Now, can we give rebuke like that? Who's holding like the Chofetz Chaim? Even so, there are times you can't just look the other way. There are times that, a person may have to give rebuke, even if it's not going to be, listened to. And a person can say, well, let's say you rebuke someone who's not religious. You give them rebuke. So, what's the problem? Problem is, if you do that, they'll hate Torah more. So, you're going to be all embracing, whatever. Who says? I'm not saying you hammer them, but they have to know. They have to know what they're doing is wrong. They're not going to learn. They're not going to listen. They may antagonize after you say, okay, so what? Then go eat kugel. It doesn't matter. Sometimes they have to hear. You're not a yes person over here. We have to stand up for what the Torah says. Now, some people would say, even today, if there are things going on, let's say in the land of Israel, protests don't work. Essentially, they don't work. Gather 1,000 people, 2,000 people, whatever. Doesn't change anything. But says the Brisker of Israel Zev salvation of blessed memory, doesn't matter. What doesn't matter? It's one of the Torah giants of the last generation. Who cares if they listen or not? Sometimes you got to protest anyway. Other great rabbis said not that way. They said that's not the path. Okay. Right? There's a difference of opinion. But there are times, you got to say something. As unpopular as it may be. Like someone once said, what I've been doing, intermarried, 35 years, nothing really bad has happened. I'm not worried about this, that, and the other thing. So, well, you should be. Torah says clear what's going to be. There's a reward, there's punishment. No, I'm not worried about that. So, my answer was, well, you must have studied, this philosophy, that philosophy. You must have read the Bible from cover to cover, right? You're so not worried about it, you don't know anything about the topic. But okay. What does the person want more than anything else? And what they'll never get from me is acceptance. They want acceptance. They want me to say what they're doing is okay. Sorry. Torah says you're not allowed to intermarry. Torah makes that clear many times. Many, many times. Right? So, even if that's the case, they come up with Webster's fifth definition. No, it only meant this generation. Only meant generation going into Israel. They make it up coming out of their elbow. Right? Say nonsense. So they may never be convinced. Okay. Maybe they'll never be convinced. But you are not allowed. A Jew, let's say better. A Jew is not allowed to say that's a good thing. You're not allowed to say congratulations. How can you say congratulations? In a same-sex marriage, can you participate? No. Say congratulations? No. Give him a gift? No. Now someone's going to say, come on, I work with people like this. What am I supposed to do? What do you mean? There's a Torah. There are obligations. There are things you can't do. How can you give credibility to something the Torah calls an abomination? They invite you. How can you go? Yeah, a friend of mine I went to yeshiva with. Many years ago. Saw him on a flight coming back to Israel. And I asked him what was he doing in the States. I said, I went to a wedding. I said, my sister got married. So I said, mazel tov. He said, well, not exactly. She married a non-Jew. So I said, okay. I said, you went to the wedding? So he said, yeah. So I said, how could you go to the wedding? How could you go to the wedding with a Jew and a non-Jew? So he said, everybody knew I was there under protest. I go, what do you mean? I go, you had your kosher food, you were there under protest. You were dancing the horror, under protest. I said, how can you show up? I didn't ask him. He asked the rabbi question. Didn't ask a question. Well, I said, how is that possible? You represent Torah. They know you're an Orthodox Jew. No matter, more modern, less modern, you're an Orthodox Jew. How can you give credibility to such a thing? Right? I was there under protest. You were there. Can't be there. Very simple. You can't be there. Right? So the question comes up, you rebuke someone a number of times, they don't listen. Right? And they look at you like a fool. So let me ask a question. Not my question, but I'll ask a question. Who would you rather be looked at as a fool by? A person, flesh and blood, or by God himself? We don't want to be fools in God's eyes. We don't want to be sinners in God's eyes. Better to be, it's brought down, better to be a fool in the eyes of man than certainly doing something wrong in the eyes of God. Right? You're going to say, well, that's hard. Because, if you rebuke someone and they make fun of you, okay, so you can join my club. I get made fun of all the time. People say, oh, this, that, fanatic and who believes it, whatever. Okay, so what? So let them, let them look at you as a fool. And plenty people think I'm a fool, okay? Plenty people think, it's absurd to have seven kids. Crazy enough, I got 4 married and 6 grandkids. It's also like, people think, wow, that's way out, and this and that. Noah Weinberg once asked someone, he said, what's your greatest pleasure? Right? Noah Weinberg, a blessed memory, who started the yeshiva of Eish Torah. He said, what's your greatest pleasure? He said, my kids. So then he asked, he said, what's the thing that gives you the most amount of pain? Person thought about it, and he said, my kids. They go, okay, let's get to pleasure. Let's go back to pleasure. You said your greatest pleasure is your kids. So if Noah asked them, so how many kids do you have? You expect 3, 4, whatever. He said, how many kids do you have? He said, 1. He said, I have 1 child. So if Noah asked, what's the matter? Too much pleasure? So, the idea is, you're right. Person give rebuke a lot of times. And the person doesn't listen. And they just continue and make fun. So the question is, that person, how much of a connection should we have anyway? Well, let's say you have no choice. It's family, right? Sometimes you have no choice. You're not cutting off relationships here, right? So let's say everything that comes out of their mouth, they just make fun and this and that. Okay. Sticks and stones. Someone who's deserves to be in an insane asylum, and they say something, I'm not gonna get upset by it. I'm not gonna let it get under my skin. Right? But you say it's cruel, it's mean, people make fun. You're right. People say all kinds of things. I can tell you things that would have got me really riled up. Today I just go bink. Maybe a little bit of tinge of anger, but it's certainly not what it ever was. And that was the greatest advice I always say, is you got to look at these people like they're insane. But the point is that, someone wants to be accepted. And they'll, and what bothers them? Everybody else is so, left wing, have their brains open to the, their minds open to the brains fall on the floor. And what do? They get all the acceptance in the world, except from you. Because they know you don't accept. So that drives them mad. Why does it drive them mad? You get 99.9% say it's okay. You get one person somewhere, some fanatical nuts, that's not going to say that's okay. Yeah. So look at Haman. Look at Mr. Haman himself in the book of Esther. He walked into a room. There was this new idol. He had to bow down to it. Right? Walked in the room, walked out, walked back in, had to bow, then get on the floor. People didn't like him so much. He had all the power. He had a lot of money. And what happened? He saw this one Jew who refused to bow down. So Mordecai refused to bow down. Now people told Mordecai, what are you doing? Gonna cause us problems, this, that. Maybe it wasn't an idol. Some say maybe he could have done it. Whatever the case is, Mordecai says, I'm not bowing. So what does Haman say? Haman says, I'm going to destroy you, and I'm going to destroy your people. I'm going to destroy everybody. Because he wouldn't bow. Now, obviously, the Jewish people must have done something wrong to deserve to be destroyed. That's not the point. What's the point over here? The point is, Haman's very well connected, got a tremendous amount of power, second in command to the king, got a lot of money, tremendous amount of money, and this one Jew refuses to bow. And he gets so angry, he says, I'm not only going to kill you, I'm going to kill your entire people. Why? One guy, one old Jew refuses to bow. What's the answer? What's the answer? Simple answer is Haman knows. He knows the truth. He knows where he came from. He was the barber in a certain place for 22 years. He was actually Mordecai's slave. And all of these other things go with it, but he knew what the truth was. The secular Jew also knew what the truth was. Right? Everyone's going to say, oh, great wife, this, that, whatever. The only thing is you're not Jewish, okay? Can't have everything. But one Jew is going to tell him not that way. One Jew is going to tell him you're in trouble. You're seriously in trouble. If not now, it's going to be later. You think they want to hear that? They can knock it off and say, or they can blow it off, let's say better. They can blow it off and say, come on, this person's a nut. He's a nut. So why why are they disappointed? Why are they getting upset? Because they know you're not going to bend. They know what the truth is. Because if you would ask him the question, and he really should only ask this to people associated with the synagogue, but nonetheless, you ask the question, A or B, there's no buts. According to the Torah, according to the Bible, the Old Testament, whatever you want to call it, is a Jew allowed to marry a non-Jew? Yes or no? The person has to say no. They have to say no. Still say no, but no buts. They know what the truth is. Now, why do I say someone affiliated? Because if they're not affiliated with the synagogue, they'll say it doesn't matter what the Bible says. It's irrelevant what the Bible says. I'm going to do what I want. Because they can say, yeah, maybe the Bible says that. So what? You have these, it's all men. It's all men run and this and that. They hate women, hate non-Jews, hate pork, hate all these things. Very good. Why did I listen to? I don't have to listen to. So they may not, they're just going to laugh it off. But someone who's a little bit connected, they don't have to be a lot connected. They can be a little bit connected. A little bit connected, they're going to be a little bit upset. Why are they going to be upset? Because you're not acknowledging it. Even better, you're telling them what they're doing is wrong. Right? Nobody else is telling them what they do is wrong. But even if you don't do that, I've been in situations I didn't open my mouth. Now, probably most people can't imagine that. But I'm telling you, certain situations I didn't open my mouth. I got slammed. Someone told me, I'm offended by the way you dress. I'm like, the only difference is I wear white and black, white and blue, with or without pinstripes, white and gray, white shirt, gray pants, with or without pinstripes. And I said, and I wear a yarmulke on my head and I have stitches, and I wear a suit. Okay, don't dress that radically different. But they said, I'm offended by the way you dress. Now, what do they mean? What do they mean? They meant I'm offended what you stand for. Not just the dress, it's whole package. Orthodox. They think it's like medieval. It's archaic. Got to get with the, they have to change with the times. That I heard many, many times. When I was in New York by the conservative movement. Got to change with the times. Who says? Torah doesn't tell me that. I have to say all the time. So what's offensive? Not by dress. It's the whole package. Because basically say, you're judging me. I'm not judging. I'm not saying anything. Right? I'm minding my own business. Like, you don't think I'm Jewish enough. Or let's say better. I've had people say, oh, you don't think I'm Jewish. I don't know. Your mother's Jewish. You're Jewish. I didn't say, well, he does a great job as a public. Maybe you lose your status as a non-Jew. And then, all these other ramifications. I didn't go there. I said, if you're Jewish, you're Jewish. Oh, but you think you're better. That has nothing to do with being better. Torah says God chose us. We chose him. Right? So it's about what we do. It's about this confidence. Doesn't matter what I think. Nobody cares what I think. Right? The relevance. What any of us think. Is the Torah true or is it not true? Did God speak of Mount Sinai or he didn't? Right? And that ends the conversation because now it doesn't matter. It's not relevant. They're not going to hear anything. Fine. Right? But so what are they getting testy about? Or someone will say, we can agree to disagree. That's not an argument. Right? If you were in a debating class, you failed. That's not an argument. Bring me evidence. Argue something. No, I'm not going to do that. Why not? Why wouldn't you get in a discussion? Because they're afraid. What are the repercussions of that discussion? But, like I said, I've had people say things. I didn't even initiate the discussion. Where I initiated, I got hammered over that. Okay. Where I didn't say anything, And people all of a sudden say, hey, the Orthodox think this. Let's say it's true. Let's say it's true. That's what the Torah says. Well, I think otherwise. I think they're wrong. I didn't say anything. I didn't open my big mouth. If I open my big mouth, okay, then all right, give it back to me. See what you have to say. But there were a number of times nothing came out of my mouth. So why do people say anything? Because they know what you represent. They may not know, what the mitzvah, all the mitzvahs are and this and that. They know what the Torah represents in general. And you represent the Torah. So therefore, you are their enemy. See it clear as day here in Israel, right? You see the absolute hatred, of the left, against the ultra Orthodox. Why? Why? Because we're their conscience. They don't want to hear they can't do this on Shabbos. They don't want to hear they can't. They want to do whatever they want. So why are they getting so upset? If they know we're such fanatics, and we're nutcases and we deserve to be, God forbid, an insane asylum. So what are they getting upset about? Why do they jump up and down and scream and do all kinds of things? Because they know what the truth is. They know. They don't want to hold by it, but they know. So rather be a fool in the eyes of people. So let them talk. Oh, come on, you really believe that? I had somebody tell me once, do you really believe in all this? So I'm like, well, I wouldn't have upset so many people if I didn't. Why was the person there in synagogue? Probably for social reasons. Maybe, person could say, how do you know what's going on in their heart? Maybe they'll get closer to God. Maybe. Right? I can be totally wrong, but I don't think so. Person, desecrated Shabbos. So you're right. Can't judge someone unless you've been in their shoes. Then I would agree. But when you see what they do, you see their actions, hard to say. It's very hard to say. They're coming to synagogue because they want to be closer to God. In some ways, maybe. Maybe I won't say 100%. But I think a lot of people there for social things. Some people, are they there to get closer to God? Yeah, probably. Right? But you see how they live their lives, hard to imagine. Right? Just by what, if you're going to judge by what people do. They'll say, well, we don't believe in the same things about driving on Shabbos. Yeah, but even according to the conservative movement, they hold you're only allowed to drive to synagogue, nowhere else. Oh, the thing about electricity. Okay, they say, we disagree about what Shabbos is, but you don't know what Shabbos is. You're just, doing what you think is right. Right, but the point is that we could get judged without even saying anything. It's happened, I can tell you, it's happened. People will say things, or they'll just give you a look. Let's say, I'll give you an example. Happened to me. I was going on a bus, and whatever, the door opens. There's someone in front of me, looking for his, I guess whatever, his bus card, whatever. So, I didn't feel like waiting, so, I sort of cut in front of him. This person, had a knitted yarmulke on his head. He just looked at me. The guy was standing there. Why, I never right to circumvent. Well, not like the bus is going to take off. The guy's like, what, you couldn't wait? Right, so, okay, so maybe I had it coming. Maybe I should have waited. Maybe I should have waited another 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Right? I don't feel like waiting. Now, what's this guy thinking? Now, supposedly he's a religious Jew. Now, what's he thinking? Oh, see? He could be thinking, look, Orthodox Jews don't have patience. They can't even wait an extra 3 minutes. An extra 2 minutes to get on the bus. Look, I don't open my mouth. I want to get on the bus. I should have waited another 2 minutes, probably, maybe. I wasn't worried I was going to miss the bus. So why did I want to get on the bus? I didn't feel like waiting outside. I think it's a legitimate thing, but yeah, could be I should have waited. But I'm saying if that was a secular Jew, hammer. You got to be, much more careful. You got to be squeaky clean. Can't give them any fodder. Because they already have biases. You get on a bus, get on a train, and let's say person went with their family, 3, 4, 5 kids, and whatever. Let's say something a little bit unruly, get them on the train. What's a secular person think? Oh, look at this. Can't even take care of their own kids. Kids are wild. This and that. Now, there could be a million reasons why. Yeah, kids could be cranky. There are a million reasons why. It doesn't matter. The people, these things don't matter. Right? I'll give a more relevant example. Right? A number of years ago, got through COVID, and at the end of the day, people claimed, we were spreading it. We were guilty more than anybody else, spreading this because of how contagious it was. Now, if you look at demographics of most, certainly here in Israel, right? Most communities, people don't have their own houses. They live in apartment buildings. Now, where do most people, where they get COVID from? Now, first answer would be, they probably got it in synagogue. So that's probably near the top of the list, but that's not the top. You know where they got it from? Their kids. Or one person had it and it spread. You have a lot of kids, one, small area, this, that, it can spread. We're not all spread out. Right? So you come in contact, you got bigger families, it can spread quicker. It's demographics. It's not about hygiene. I'm not going to get into hygiene. It's not about hygiene, per se. Right? That's the number one place is how it spread. Is people got it in their own home. Not where they were. I'm not saying, if you say, we're in shopping malls and this and that, that's way down on the list. Way down on the list. Synagogues is higher on the list. Okay? Now, why would we get it there? Because we're in synagogue a lot. 3 times a day. You live in a Jewish community, hundreds of people you potentially come in contact with. Right? Not when you're not supposed to be in a place. Not when things are shut down. We're not talking about that. But it can spread much quicker because you're around a lot of people. True. Secular people they just don't have the sheer numbers that we do. Not even close. So now, if you look at it demographically, you can understand how it could happen. But, you shouldn't have so many kids. But that's where it's coming from. It's coming from your own house. Most people. So they say, shouldn't be living in this type of community. Shouldn't have so many kids. Shouldn't this, shouldn't that. But there are demographic issues. Can't make excuses. There's demographics. We don't hold by hygiene. We're just spreading it. It spreads quicker by us for different reasons. Right? That's the Havdil. Make a big distinction, and that's like the Christian just taking things totally out of context. Right? Taking all kinds of verses out of context. So that's not looking at the whole thing. That's looking, our numbers are higher. Why are they higher? Because because you don't wear masks. Well, that's true. Maybe a good percentage of the portion, of the outdoor Orthodox community didn't. Some did. Definitely some did. But again, even in synagogue, that's not where the majority of people got it. So it's not about that, whether they wore masks or not, doesn't matter. Forget about whether masks help or not, not even going there. But let's say wearing masks helps. And in synagogue, a lot of people didn't wear masks, let's say. Okay, right? Even if that's true, even if we say it's true, the majority of people in the ultra-Orthodox community did not get sick from synagogue. Those were not the stats. Many of them got sick because a family member had it. And then a family member had spread. That's how it happened. But there are demographics. So even if you explain that to someone, they're not going to hear it because what are they're going to say? Look, you have too many kids. Someone once told me this, Someone once told me, they said, in the Jewish marriage document, what we call the ksuva, right? That groom, right, has to give to his bride, right? Jewish groom has to give to his Jewish bride. It's a document saying that, you're going to give her clothing, you're going to, give her a house, give her other things, take care of her needs. Very good. Well, someone tells me, and you're going to say, come on, the person didn't say this. It happened. Someone tells me, you didn't read the fine print. I said, why? What's in the fine print? And the fine print says you can't have more than 4 kids. That's what someone told me. You can't have more than 4 kids. I said, okay. So I said, if that would be true, I said, okay, which one should we kill? Tell me. We'll kill any one of them. We'll kill any one of them. Just tell me. No. Oh, your kids are so special, this and that. So tell me which ones we should kill. Which one we just, throw off a cliff. Strangle. I don't know. Tell me which one. They didn't get upset I said that. They say, oh, come on. This is your fanaticism coming out. Yeah, maybe. But you just made a statement. You said, oh, the Ksuba only says you can have 4. I don't know. Okay, so which one should we have? So you tell me you don't even answer questions like this. True. Even if they don't listen, that's the point. Even if they don't listen, it doesn't matter. Even if you look like a fool. I've looked like a fool a lot of times. And a lot of things I said, people made fun of, got angry at. Okay. When you're playing poker, you're playing cards, you're dealt with a certain hand. Right? It's the luck of the draw. Whatever your hand is, maybe you got a great hand, you're going to win. Maybe you got a crummy hand, whatever it is. You're not in control. So we're not in control who family is. Right? We mentioned this many times. Don't know what parents are, spouses. Oh, spouse is not true necessarily. Sorry, siblings. Etc. Socioeconomic situation. Mishna Pirke Avos says we're born against our will, we die against our will. Right? Parentheses, Kaufman would say you still have to live. So we're not in control of that. You're right. Well, sometimes, we have to deal with it. 100% we have to deal with it. So, we're dealt with a certain hand, as I would call it. It could be a pretty bad one. Could definitely be a pretty bad hand over here. But okay, that's the hand you're dealt with. So, the question is, how do you deal with it? I got someone, pulled me off many years ago, for exactly this reason. Wouldn't acknowledge the non-Jewish spouse that he married. Wouldn't say congratulations. Couldn't do it. Not allowed to. Forbidden. There's no way around that. You don't know, isn't there a leniency? Where's the leniency? Oh, I think, I'm so glad you're spitting in God's face. Where's the leniency? I would take somebody like this, right? I'll give an example, make it a little more graphic. Take somebody like this, and I want to take you to synagogue. They say, for what? Just come with me. I want to take you to synagogue. Yeah, but nobody's there. Doesn't matter. Open up the door, go into the sanctuary. It's, turn on all the lights. Say, okay, I want you to open the ark. It's like, what do you mean open the ark? Like, what are you talking about? So no, I want you to take out the Torah. Take out the Torah. There's no service going on. Just take out the Torah. Take out the Torah. Very good. Okay, I'm gonna bring it to the lectern over here. I'm gonna bring it to the bima. Let's start taking it out. Yeah, take off the top. Right, take off the cover. Right, it's like, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Like, what in the world do you? I said, I'm not done yet. I said, just let's keep going. Right, very good. Take it out. Take off the cover. Roll it up. Say, okay, this is the Torah scroll. Say, I want you to hold the Torah scroll. They're like, just hold the Torah scroll. You say, okay, fine. They hold the Torah scroll. All right. So now you say, okay, take the Torah scroll and throw it on the ground. They're gonna, even a secular Jew is not gonna do that. There was someone in the camps that died because one of the Nazis wanted him to, defecate on the Torah scroll. He refused. Wasn't a religious Jew. They killed him. Right? It's not something a Jew would do. The most secular are not going to do that. If they really held it was a hunk of junk, maybe. But, deep down, they're ma'minim b'nei ma'minim. They believe they're the sons of believers. They're not going to do that. Right? So you tell the person, take the Torah scroll and throw it on the ground. Throw it on the ground and defecate on it, spit on it, and all these other. The person's going to say, all right, let's put it back. You made your point. No, you don't understand. What you're telling me to do is that you're spitting in God's face. It's probably the worst thing you can do, just about. Right? So if it's the worst thing you can do, how in the world can you say that I should say it's okay? How is that possible? How in the world is that possible? I have someone, been a long time. And they just told me off, cursed me, told me off, and this and that. Right? So what do? It's sad. There's no way around it. It's sad, but that's it. Am I allowed to say congratulations for spitting in God's face? They can say whatever they want about the Torah that they don't know about. They can jump up and down and who knows what. They can curse God, they can curse the Torah, they can say it's what it means, it's this, it's that, it's 20 other things. Okay, you say whatever you want. But you as a Jew cannot say this is good. See, everyone else won't care. That's why it gets under their skin. Because they know what the truth is. So this person, told me off in a lot of ways. A lot of ways. Okay. I don't think I've necessarily lost anything over the years because of it, but okay. But that was the impetus. One of the main things. Right? Probably the main thing. But okay. You cannot, as Kaufman would say, you cannot turn the Torah into a pretzel. Can't. Now the question is, what do people mean? And they say all kinds of nasty things. So you either got to change the topic. You say, okay, I've heard you speak about this number of times. So enough. What if they just keep going? Okay. Not much you can do. You say, you want to talk to me? You speak about something else. And some people just don't care. They just, keep going. Right? So the question is, how much contact should a person have? Right? That's the question. Right? So, I would say a lot of times not worth it. Family can be an albatross. Right? There's some things there's just no way around. Even give another example. Someone who desecrates Shabbos in public. Doesn't matter what they know, what they don't know. Right? They desecrate Shabbos in public. Can you answer amen to their blessings? No. Can you give them an honor? Call them to the Torah? No. right? There are many things. Again, it's a technical issue, not a personal thing. But explain to somebody who thinks they have it coming, which maybe they should, all things being equal, but you can't give them that honor. Why can't you give them that honor? Because again, they did a great job as a public. It's not a personal thing. Totally not a personal thing. Because when it comes to that, you honor them as much as you can, if possible. But again, let's say this is the hand you've been dealt. And you're going to get hammered over the head because of it. So what do you do? What do you do? You take it. That's all you can do. You can try and explain it. You can say it's nothing personal, this, that, but it becomes personal. It becomes very personal because they feel jilted. They feel slighted. They feel that, oh, your rabbi is more important than me. Well, that is true in other ways. It's definitely true. But if you can give honor, you should do it. Well, what if you can't? What in the world if you can't? So what do? You're not going to come out smelling like a rose. I can promise you that. Right? So you take your lumps. He's like, this is the hand you've been dealt with. That's all you can do. The Torah is not a pretzel over here. There are things you cannot get around. No matter how hard you try. There's no way around it. There's no magic formula. That's it. Right? So when you have to rebuke, you might be obligated to rebuke a number of times. And if they're going to look at you like you're out of your mind and they make fun of you and this and that, okay. Right? It's also a test. But the question still stands. Would you rather be a fool in the eyes of man or be a fool and, God forbid, desecrate what God says? There's an obvious answer. Let man say whatever they want. You get a lot of reward. For listening and taking this garbage. Get a lot of reward. You're right, they make fun, okay? They can make fun. I can tell you, I've heard a lot in my life. A lot of obnoxious things. A lot of things, okay, you know where it's coming from. Okay, so what? But what's the problem? Because, you take it seriously. You take what the Torah says seriously. They don't. And then they just make fun of it, everything that is important to you. So that's hard to take. I would agree. That's hard to take. The only question is, what's your perspective on such a person? It could be it could be a parent, God forbid. It could be a child, God forbid. I've heard people tell me their kids are obnoxious to them. What? Come on. You really believe in this stuff and they make fun of it. And kids are anti-Semites. The parents. Happens. There a number of cases like this, awful. And you got parents anti-Semites to kids, also bad. Also bad. And anything in between. So it's hard. But again, people get, I'll give another example. So someone asked me, you deal with these non-Jews that want to convert or whatever. They said, why would they want to convert? So I said, well, let me ask like this: why would a secular Jew become religious? Like, oh, that's a good question. So I said, you know what the reason is? I said the reason is, I said a lot of people I deal with, came out of Christianity and they saw Christianity was false, so they want to go to the base, which is Judaism and this and that. But I said, there are a lot of people out there searching for truth. Now I can't joke because I can see the person saying this to my face. Right? And many, many years ago. They looked at me and said, come on, get real. That's what they said. Can't make this up. They're like, come on, get real. I was like, what do you mean? You don't think people are out there searching for truth? Looking for meaning in life? Not just about shopping and playing mahjong and other things. It's not about sports and entertainment and who knows what. Person couldn't hear it. So they say, well, that person's really shallow. Maybe. Could be. Right? Maybe there are more people out there who think there are other things more important, in life. Okay. Had someone tell me, and this is the answer. A person has someone and say, come on, is there anything more important than God? You know what the answer is? What? That's your answer. So what's more important? What are they going to tell you is more important? Now, someone would say, family. Family's more important. Okay, they got a point, right? Family, people say family is everything. Whatever, blood is thicker than water. Heard of that a number of times. Well, what are they going to say? What are they going to say? What's the meaning of life? Right? That's the crux of the question. What's the meaning of life? You're going to tell me sports? Entertainment? The Queen? The election? What's more important? The meaning of meaningful life. Oh, that's your opinion and morality and that. But what's more important? So make me a list. This never ends well, but that's the answer. Food, I forgot to mention food. One of the biggest things, idolatry today, way people eat. You can say food's more important. What's more important? I tell someone tells me, I'm offended by the way you dress. So I asked them, and this is a prominent doctor in their community. They're offended by the way I dress. So I said, if I shave my head, I had a mohawk. If I shaved my head, I had earrings coming out of, every part of my body. And I was smoking on top of their roof day in and day out, playing my guitar. I go, that bother you? This person's thinking. I said, I don't get it. Here we're talking about morality, having good morals, good values, giving this over to my wife, to my kids, this, that, and that, that's absurd. Sitting on someone's roof, on a regular basis with my head shaved and, and earrings coming out of every part of my body, that's okay. That's normal. Have good values? No. Oh, come on, all this stuff's archaic and this. So what's more important? What is more important? So a secular person, what are they going to say? Again, someone will say family. Family, okay, family's everything. There's nothing else. People say a good steak. Someone will say, I don't know, whatever. That's more important. That's like the most important thing in life. So the onus is on them. Or like someone once said to me, just throw this out there. You like to pray all day, I like to play golf. Like, what in the world is the comparison? First of all, I don't pray all day. 45 minutes, 50 minutes in the morning, 15 in the afternoon, 15 at night. That's, what's that, an hour and a half? And you want to play golf, like that means anything? What do they mean? Different strokes for different folks. You like to do this? You like chocolate, I like vanilla. He likes pistachio nut, okay? Are you talking about real meaning in life? So you're going to say, come on, people like that are really shallow. Not everyone's that shallow. Maybe. I'm still convinced the most important question some people may ever ask is ketchup or mustard on my hot dog. That's what they're going to ask. They're not thinking people. They're not looking for meaning. How can someone look at you straight in the face and say people are not looking for meaning in life? How in the world can a person say that? With a straight face? What, you don't think the Hindus are looking for meaning? Other people are not looking for meaning in life. People backpack all over the world, certainly here after the army, right? After kids do the army, they go backpacking around the world, end up in Thailand, Nepal, and other places. What are they looking for? Yeah, they're looking for fun, true. They're also looking for something more. But not just by Jews, by everybody. You're going to tell me nobody's looking for meaning? Yeah, a lot of people aren't. It's true. People want to be numb to sleep. They just want to enjoy, what the next movie's going to be, what sports, that's it. But how can you say that's more important? That's the meaning of life. That's the answer. Put the onus on them. What's more important than God? So tell me what's more important. What's more important? Money. Got to mention money. Right? Money's more important. Money is more important. What do you do when you die? You can't take it with you. So you break it down a little bit. What are they going to answer? Going to sound like fools. Totally sound like fools. Right? So the simple long answer is you give Mussar a number of times, you rebuke a number of times, what if they don't listen? Right? Sometimes that's our obligation. Right? Even so, if you look like a fool, better to look like a fool now than later. Where God could say, hey, you didn't do the right thing. How come you didn't do the right thing over here? We're going to have to answer. 100% we're going to have to answer. You say, but you could have said something. So what would our excuse be? They weren't going to listen anyway. And plus, they're going to make fun. Now, not listening, not necessarily such an excuse. But I don't think God's going to hear, he's going to hear, well, they're going to make fun of me. God says, you're taking what they say seriously? Someone who's got a 25 IQ in spirituality, you going to take them seriously? That's the hard part also. If someone doesn't know anything, they just throw out things, and then you answer them. They don't want to hear that. Certainly don't want to hear that. They want everything to be good. Everything's fine. Nobody does anything wrong. Everything's good. Life does not work that way. Totally doesn't work that way. So there are times, doesn't matter whether they listen or not. Right? And it certainly doesn't matter if we're going to look like fools. Okay, so we look like fools. You're going to say it's easy to say. I've been through it. Look like a fool a lot of times. So what do? Move on. See, now, I wouldn't even think twice about it. I wouldn't even think, I'm looking like a fool. They don't want to hear the truth. Okay. They're going to say, oh, that's medieval, that's this. And, you really think if I touch this, or someone said to me, what do you answer to this? Someone says, hey, if I breathe on your food, it means it's not kosher. Say, no, just got bad breath on it. That was my answer. Quick answer. All right, that's just obnoxious. That's it. You move on. Am I going to get hot under the collar? What do you mean? Don't you really know anything about college? You can't go there. They're not going to listen. And all they're going to do is make fun. I was in a restaurant with somebody, and they're like, what's this deal with, keeping kosher anyway? There's no problem with trichinosis. Used to be maybe, people didn't heat up things well, and people worried about getting sick, and tapeworms, and this and that. I said, but that's not what keep kosher. And by the way, you're eating a bagel. Bagel has nothing to do with trichinosis over here. It's talking about meat, pork, whatever. That was it. All right, whatever. Pass the salt. That was it. That was it. Now, were they going to listen to a whole explanation? Certainly not. Certainly not. I gave them a one-line answer. It didn't go anywhere. That was it. I'm going to feel bad. Feel bad they don't know anything. Feel bad they look kind of foolish. I say you're eating a bagel. It has nothing to do with me. That just sort of like stuck a knife in their eye. And said, come on, fool. That's basically what I said. You're not eating meat. So what does that have to do with trichinosis? Check, mate. Right? So they just blew it off and said, yeah, whatever. I didn't feel like a fool. I wasn't trying to make them look like a fool, but I made a point. Didn't go anywhere. Okay. Right. Sometimes, just got to learn how to give, snappy answers and just shut them up. Sometimes also a person can hear what they say. They also feel like, it's like proselytization. It's like, oh, but the Bible says this, that, even though we know it's true. Yeah, we also might feel like fools. Because you know what they're thinking. What they may answer back and this. Okay, you're right. Doesn't matter. The truth is the truth. They say, I don't care what the Bible says. Okay. Someone say, well, who says the Bible's true? Oh, you want to hear proof? No. Right. So, again, I don't think most people are that hostile, but they don't want to hear the truth. They don't even want to get into the conversation. Why? Because they're afraid. Oh, he's going to he's brainwashed. He's going to try and brainwash me. Does this make sense or doesn't make sense? God speaking Mount Sinai or not? Like someone said, well, what's the point? The point is either I have obligations or I don't have obligations. Well, I'm not sure. Okay, well, don't you think you should check it out? Would you take a gun and play Russian roulette if it was a 16.6% chance? 16.66667 chance you could blow your brains out? I don't think anyone would do it. Pretty convinced nobody would do it. Even that, even if it was a 5% chance, people wouldn't do it. Person has a gun, 20 bullets, right? 20 bullet holes. You only have one bullet in it. A 5% chance, blow your brains out. Anyone gonna take the chance? I don't think most people take the chance. You might have a few wise guys like, yeah, I'll take the chance. I don't think so. Now, it could be this generation. I'm totally wrong. Well, I don't think so. You're playing Russian roulette. You pull the trigger, you could die. I don't think anyone wants to take that chance. So what about the next? Oh, I'm not worried about the next one. Isn't that like playing Russian roulette? So all these things go back to, the same question, but you're right. People could say, I don't care, it doesn't matter, and Jews are this, and Jews are that. Jews the other thing. Be totally anti-Semites, right? And it's painful to hear. I agree. Especially, it's a family member. It's painful to hear, true. But again, what's the bottom line? People out there are insane. They're not holding by Torah mitzvahs, right? They don't have any knowledge, don't have any Torah knowledge, so they're insane. Why would I take someone that's insane seriously? I can also blow it off in many ways. We're not going to sit there and argue. Come on. Did you ever study? Did you ever this? Give another example. A family member once said, about living in the land of Israel, of all things. How do you know, there's an obligation to live in the land? That the land belongs to us, even better. That the land belongs to Jewish people. So I didn't bring down the first Rashi and Chumash. I said, well, it's pretty clear. I said, if you read the Bible from cover to cover, just the 5 books, right? Book of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Book of Deuteronomy, that's going to be the conclusion. God gave the land to Jewish people. Now we could say, like at the end of the book of Leviticus, if you guys don't want it, you don't do what you're supposed to do, right? Chump don't want it, chump don't get it. You'll be thrown out. True. But that doesn't mean we're not going to come back. And that doesn't mean the land doesn't belong to us. It just means we didn't deserve it now and God takes it away. Doesn't mean we're not going to get it back. So I said, well, if you read the Bible, it's pretty clear. Land belongs to us, right? The Arabs will tell you differently. It's the biggest lie next to Christianity and evolution, right? But definitely one of the biggest lies out there. The land belongs to them. But, just simple explanation what the Torah says. Karaites will be happy. The land belongs to us. God gave it to us. He chose us. We chose him. Belongs to us. I said, if you read the Bible, that's what it says. They didn't necessarily want to hear it, but that was the answer. So it depends if the person wants to hear the answer. If they don't want to hear the answer, so I would say it's probably a waste of time. Most likely it's a waste of time. But what if they just keep coming and coming and coming? Yeah, that's kind of hard. So you gotta say, listen, this is offensive. I'm offended. End of discussion. What if they don't stop? Then you got to make a decision. Person has to make a decision. And that is, do you want to bang your head against the wall till it bleeds or not? A person doesn't need it. I got plenty of aggravation in my life. I don't need any other aggravation. I always say if I'm at the top of my game and everything is going well, I got people, that'll put me in my place if I want to go there. Not interested. Why am I interested in that? Oh, but it's family. Blood is thicker than water. Okay. That doesn't mean anything. People are obnoxious. There are other reasons. But even if you're like a fool, a person, you can't even imagine the reward a person gets for such a thing. Imagine you're walking outside with someone and, it's very warm and, you're dressed, as a modest person and they look at you and say, what are you out of your cotton picking head? You're going to sweat like a pig. It's so hot. You're right. It's hot. And someone say like, how can you go outside when it's so hot? Like, what should I do? I got to go pray. So what should I do? It's hot. You're right. So I should go in my tank top and shorts. That's what I should do. I should go with my, I should go like I'm dressed to go to the beach. I said, come on, but it's hot. You're right. And if I wear a tank top and shorts, it's also hot. Just not as hot. But, if it's 40 degrees Celsius and 100 degrees Fahrenheit, you walk outside, even in short and tank tops, right? Even, shorts and in a tank top, you're right. It's also going to be hot. You're also going to sweat, but you won't sweat as much. Because here you're dressed, you're taking in the sun and all the heat with a suit and a black hat. You're right. It's hotter. I agree. So it's hot. We say in the winter, you can always add layers when it's cold. Summer, there are only so many layers you can take off. For that also. So you must sweat in the summer. Yeah, it's hot. That's it. You're right. It's too bad you can't dress normal. And if I dress normal in your language, even if I would, so it's less hot. Okay, a little bit. But it's that hot anyway, it doesn't matter. You're going to be hot no matter what. No, there's hot and really hot. Okay, there's different levels. It's just arguing with stupidity. They don't like it. Oh, you stand out. You look different. Right? Or someone will say, I'm embarrassed the way you dress. Right? It's embarrassing being seen with you in public dressed like this. You're right. So maybe I shouldn't be in such a place. Okay? But at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do. Yeah, I told somebody they didn't like this, right? Which is kind of shocking, right? So I said, a person, why do you have to dress that way? So I said, if someone works in Wall Street, they work in Wall Street. What do they wear? They wear suits, right? Double-breasted, not double-breasted, with a tie, that's a dress code. Now, what's the first thing they do, after work, or they'll go out for a drink or whatever? They come home, they change, right? Don't want to get their nice clothes dirty, whatever, they change. So why are they doing it? Why are they doing it? For money. That's the dress code for that type of work. That's the dress code. Maybe it changed. I don't know. That's the dress code. This is what I said to somebody. And they looked at me and said, so why are you dressed the way you are? Because I said, because I believe I have an obligation from God to do it. That's my uniform. That's my God-given uniform. Sometimes with pinstripes, without pinstripes, that's my uniform. I said, the difference is I'm doing it for spiritual reasons. And what you're doing is for the sake of money. Oh, they don't like that. I said, you're dressing up because that's your job. It's true. That is true. That doesn't change. They did not like that one iota. I said, you're dressing up for money. Tell them I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. That is what you have to do for that job. I'm just saying I do it because of what God wants from me. It's for modesty reasons. You don't understand it. That's that. So you have a uniform for money. I have a uniform for God. I have a uniform for spirituality. That did not go over so well with this person. But I think it's true. Why would anyone dress up that way? Because they have to. You want to work on Wall Street? That's how you dress. Double-breasted suit, not double-breasted suit. You're not wearing a shirt and pants and that's it. There's protocol. You want to work in such a place? That's the protocol. You know, I get to work there. But that's the protocol. So why are they getting all dressed up for? For money. That's what they're getting dressed up for. That's exactly why they're doing it. They don't have a choice. That's the protocol. Right? But they want to hear you doing it for modesty reasons, this and that. Nobody wants to, because again, when a person comes home, what's the first thing they do when they get home? Usually it's probably turn on the TV set. If not that, they change their clothes. That's what it's one or the other. Right? It doesn't matter what the order is. Right? But it's one way or the other. Why they change their clothes? Why they change their clothes? Because that's not who they are. That's what they have to do for the sake of work. They want, when they come home, they want to relax. Put on jeans, put on this, whatever. They want to relax. They want to mess up their good clothes, whatever. We don't do that. We wear what we wear. Right now, I go to the beach. Some people still go, dressed up the way they go dressed up. Other people, a little more casual. Fine. That's a different issue. But if you're not going to the beach, you're not fixing anything at home, you're staying dressed the way you are. That doesn't change. God doesn't change over here. My obligation doesn't change. But see, in the secular world, their obligation changes now. Why? Not at work. They don't care what you do outside of work. They don't care how you dress outside of work. They care what you dress in work. Okay? So that's the first thing they're going to change when they get home. That's the first thing, they're going to do. But why, again, why are they doing it? Right? And I can still see the person's smoke coming out of their ears. Why do they do it? Money. That's the protocol. Otherwise, if they could dress more casually, they would. Absolutely nothing to talk about. Person's going to get dressed up for the job? Come on. Can have some level of protocol. Right? You have to have some level of protocol. But why do they have that level of protocol? Money. That's their job. So I say my job is to serve God. That's my job. And I have to dress the way I need to dress. You're right. Go outside in the summer, it's hot. You're right. 100%. Does that change anything? No, it's hot. Okay. Some people sweat more, some people sweat less. People take water bottles with them, because it's so hot, they need to be, hydrated. Okay. Can I change anything? No. That's what I have to do. So isn't it true? It's really hot. You wear a short sleeve shirt? Yeah. Some people would say, no, you still wear a long sleeve shirt, whatever. But, you wear a short, it's still hot. And if you have a long sleeve shirt, you fold, you fold up the arms. But you're right. So what? So, wow, that's medieval. Okay. But see, the argument doesn't get off the ground. Why? Because even if I would wear a t-shirt and shorts and it's hot out, I'm still going to be hot. If it's that hot, I'm still going to be hot. So there are degrees. Instead of being super hot, I'm a little bit less hot. Okay? That doesn't change anything. You can be in a place where it's extremely hot, you're right. It doesn't matter. Because even if you're wearing shorts or whatever, you're still hot. Doesn't change anything. Oh, but if you're wearing pants and a shirt, you're wearing a suit and a hat, you're going to be a lot hotter. Okay. So I'll be a lot hotter. That change anything? My 50 degrees hotter than someone else? I wouldn't go that far. It's hot. True. It doesn't change anything. That's what people have to understand. It doesn't change anything. But, someone will throw that out there. Oh, come on. It's so hot that way. You're right. And it's hot the other way also. Just not as hot. Okay. That doesn't change anything. Doesn't answer anything. Right? They're just doing it to make fun. Say, wow, you must be so uncomfortable. It's hot. Okay. You're right. It's hot. Next. You'll think, wow, person's so square. You're also hot. You're just not as hot. So, degrees. Also degrees in hell as well. 6, 7 different levels. So, what's the difference? Oh, it'd be a big difference, wouldn't it? One person, is in better shape than the other. Let's say the last level of hell is like 150 billion degrees. The first level is only 1,000 degrees. Well, that's a pretty big difference, isn't it? And that might be forever, depending how bad a person is. They're not thinking in those terms. They're not worrying about that. They should. Yeah, that'd be my short, long answer. Someone asks, what's the driving force behind the left? Isn't there one aspect of the lives that opposes Torah? It could be a lot of things. It could be. I think today, the majority, it's all about desire. That's all it is. It's all it is. It's not about issues. Some people, it might be issues. They had a bad experience, let's say, growing up, and, they want to leave it all behind. For most people today, they want to do what they want to do. That's it. They don't want to be told what to do. So, the majority of people today, especially here in Israel, vast majority, they don't know anything. Nothing. I mentioned this story before. This rabbi goes into a school, Tel Aviv, before Shavuos, signs a document saying he's not going to try and, convert anyone, make them religious. So he starts telling them about Shavuos, right? He tells them, and the principal is there. He tells them, who wrote the book of Psalms? Nobody knows. 400 kids. Nobody knows. Nobody knows who wrote the book of Psalms. So you can't even put that on a conversion test. That's too hard a question. Who is Moses? I can't ask that either. Right? So he said, okay, I'll give you guys a hint. And the principal is there. Shocked. They don't know. No kid knows who wrote the book of Psalms in Israel. You're not talking Timbuktu, in the middle of nowhere, and somewhere in the prairies or whatever, or it's a potato farmer in Idaho, right? No offense, anyone's a potato farmer grew up in Idaho or the prairies, but they're living in the middle of nowhere. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about Israeli kids. No Hebrew, speak Hebrew. This is fine. I'll give you a hint. David, as in David HaMelech, King David, and they all burst out, Ben Gurion. David Ben Gurion wrote the book of Psalms. Come on. You can't make this stuff up. Teacher fled after that in embarrassment. Kids scream out, David Ben Gurion, imagine. They don't know anything. They know nothing. So they just want, they want the Arabs to leave them alone. That's why they're willing to give up, all parts of Israel for peace, even though the Arabs broken every peace agreement in the world previously, which we're not going to speak about politics. But the point is that they just want to do what they want to do. They don't want to be told what they have to do. They don't want religious coercion, what they call kfiyat datit. They don't want to be told what to do. They just want to be left alone. They don't want to be told they can't go to the beach on shops. They don't want to be told, can't go on public transportation. That should be shut down. They want to do what they want to do according to their desire. Right? But they're sick and twisted in many ways. That's true. Why? Because their minds are open until the brains fall on the floor. That's the reason. They don't have anything to do with Torah mitzvahs. Not interested. Right? And the main reason is because they just want to do whatever they want to do. That's it. Most of them are living pretty crummy lives. And many people are not happy. Right? In the secular world, certainly in America, you get a lot of people on Prozac. to try to get through the day, maybe sing and dance a little bit more. They're all miserable, most of them, most people. So, even if they have easy lives or whatever, they're miserable. They don't have meaning. Right? So what drives people there? They have an agenda. It's a totally warped agenda. We're our own worst enemy, the Jewish people. So, we join all these crazy things, thinking, oh, this is right and this is true, whatever. But, people have very strong opinions about nothing they know about. You ask your typical Reformed Jew in America, you ask them about the women at the wall, and ask them, do you think that's a good thing? And this, that, they don't even know what you're talking about. Because Israel's really not on their agenda. They don't even know what the women of the wall are. If you would ask a Reformed Jew, what are the top 25 things, right? I'll make it easy. 25 things, that you think are problematic in Judaism today. I guarantee pluralism at the Western Wall is not one of them. I don't know if it makes it in the top 50. Most of them don't even know anything about it because they don't know what goes on there. They don't know what goes on in their own movement. They don't even know what their own movement stands for. They just say, well, I'm not conservative, I'm certainly not Orthodox, so I'll be Reformed. But they don't know what that means. Conservative Jews don't know what that means. Most people. They have no idea what it means. So, it's tragic. It's tragic, there's no question. So they get caught up in all these things. And they have an agenda convincing themselves of what they think, quote unquote, is right by what society says. So they're caught up in society. Unfortunately, they're Orthodox Jews caught up in society. I see this a lot. You got, quote unquote, non-Orthodox Jews that, that will march in an LGQT, whatever it is, one of their marches. How can that be? It goes against everything we stand for. No, we're showing them solidarity. How can you show them solidarity? Torah says it's abomination. No, you got to understand. No, I don't understand. Torah says forbidden. Torah 100% says it's forbidden. There's an issue. There's a total issue. So, they're caught up in everything in society says. I had a cousin who was here, whatever, in the summer. So anyway, he's telling me, his daughter goes to public school and they have this whole thing, spoke about, transgender and different things and whatever. He said, well, I thought they did a good job, whatever. I said, don't you think it's a little bit insane? Maybe trying to convince a child of something they're not. Why would it even enter their head? Maybe a boy's on a boy, a girl's on a girl. Come on. You don't want to say certain things may be genetic. Like, come on. That you're trying to change the reality of the world. A boy's a boy, a girl's a girl. That's it. You can say maybe a person has more tendencies towards X, Y, or Z. Maybe. It's just a weird desire, if anything. Right? Because Torah tells me clear. Not only is it forbidden, but it's not a normal thing. If it'd be a normal thing, we wouldn't have a next generation. People wouldn't have kids. Right? But people just get, oh, I don't really think it's really that bad. People have to make their own decisions. I said, so, whatever. I said, you really think that? I said, you take somebody that young. Someone told me in Boston, it's like, I don't know, second grade, third grade, right? Whatever it is. You're taking someone that young and saying, how do you know you're a boy? How do you really know? How do you know that you're attracted to girls or whatever? Maybe you're only attracted to guys. And then you put books in the library for, Johnny has 2 fathers, or Sarah has three mothers or whatever, who knows what. And that's norm. That quote unquote becomes the norm. That's insanity. And, I don't have to go on and say, I mean, it's insanity. You're taking something normal, making it abnormal. But not only that, you're making it so strong, you're ramming down everyone's throats. That means everyone has rights. What rights? What rights over here? Someone once explained to me and said, if you don't give in to these things or whatever, you can lose your job. You got to acknowledge. Who says I have to acknowledge? Right? And someone told me, if you don't acknowledge you're working, this and that, that's discrimination. They'll fire you. All right. I don't know every single place would do that. Right? Someone told me that's the case. I don't know that to be true 100%, 50% even. But, I'm not saying you ram it down people's throats, but if they say, well, this is who we are, okay. But I have religious beliefs. So, I can acknowledge you as a person or as an it or whatever, but I can't acknowledge what you do. I can't say what you do is good. Some people say, come on, that's discrimination. I'll do what you want. I have to come out and put my stamp of approval for what? Why do I have to do that? That's insane. Well, if you don't do that, you lose your job. So I said, what about religious discrimination? He said you lose. Someone told me you lose 100% of the time. It's like you don't have rights. You have no rights over here. You got to acknowledge every abomination. Why? Why do I have to do that? You got to be smart also. But at the same time, I would say, person wants a pat in the back or something like that. I know people in certain industries, they got problems because of this. They have problems. Someone got sued. Few people got sued because of this. You have to serve me. It goes against what I believe. You still have to serve me. Otherwise, I'm going to sue you. So yeah, that's an issue. But I'm saying if someone works with someone else, okay, I'm not saying you have to be offensive. You can stand your ground, but that calls for a person to be let go. That doesn't make sense. What happened to being open-minded over here? They have an agenda. That's the point. They're throwing this out there, convincing everybody this thing is normal. So it's normal. You have to acknowledge it's normal. Who says? Who says I have to do that? It's a choice of that or your job. So you might have to lose your job. But, I don't think every place is going to be like that. Or someone will say, yeah, but this person's getting married. What do I do? You can't say mazel tov. It's forbidden. Totally forbidden. You certainly can't give a gift. Right? So you have to explain nicely, no offense. It's against my religion and whatever. And, but they're going to get offended, of course. Because it's my life. Okay. You're right. But who says I have to like it? So that's who you are. Okay. I acknowledge that's who you are. Right? Who says it's right? Right? And if it's not right, so you don't like him. What did my Rebbe say? Go eat kogel. You have to go eat kogel. Someone ever asks, if you take a stand for truth and choose a true God, it's going to be challenged day and night. You're true. You're going to have challenges all the time, different challenges, harder challenges. Right? People don't want to hear. But at the same time, you're now put in a situation. And your situation is, to either say it's good or bad. You get boxed in a corner over here. Can't say it's good. Definitely can't say it's good. So a person will say, but they'll get offended. Okay. They'll say terrible things against the Torah. That's not my problem. That's not a desecration of God's name. Let's not make a mistake. Because people say, well, if I say that, they're going to say worse things. Okay, so let them say worse things. That's not putting a stumbling block in front of someone. If you say you're right, can't eat pork. Oh, I think the Torah, it doesn't matter what they say. You're not putting a stumbling block in front of someone. You're saying what the Torah says. And the Torah is anti-pig. Yeah, you might say that. Torah is anti-non-Jew. Yeah, you might say that. Okay, so what? I don't have to worry what someone else comes back with. That's the point. That's not putting the stumbling block in front of anyone. So someone here says I got family members who completely abandoned them because I have Torah standards, right? So I got the same thing. And probably a lot of people have the same thing. It happens. Probably more often than not. I'm saying it doesn't have to happen, but it normally does. I would say expect it. If not, then you're lucky. Because people don't have respect. You don't talk to people anymore. You talk at people. They don't respect. Right? The worst part is, I'll tell you for me, is that they won't respect, your knowledge or anything else. And you got to wear, what do you call it? You got to wear, gloves over here, so God forbid, person might get offended. All right. I said what the Torah said. This is what the Torah says. Well, that's offensive. Okay. Don't ask me then. Plenty of people, don't like what my standard is. Okay. But they're not arguing. They're not giving me any arguments. They're just saying, I think it's fanatical. Okay. I think you're out to lunch. I think it's medieval. Did they ask me a question? They didn't ask me a question. They made a statement. I don't answer statements. Nobody should answer statements. We get all worked up. We hear something. They didn't say anything. They didn't ask a question. And I think Judaism is this. Okay. That's the answer. You say, okay. Yeah, and I can't believe, okay. Why do you keep saying okay? Because you're not giving me a question. If I would say like this, what would you say? Okay, maybe that's a question. I have to answer an agenda? I'm not going to answer an agenda. Or someone will say, they'll ask what you do, right? Right. So you give, so you give classes online, you help people in the process of conversion. So I said, yeah. They said, my wife's not convertible. Okay. Doesn't need to be. She doesn't have the problem to convert. You have the problem because you're married to her. That was my answer. I said, you're right. Non-Jew doesn't have to convert. They could be a Noahide, whatever. They don't have to convert. 100% they don't have to convert. But being married to a Jew is a problem. That's a serious problem. So I don't think they like that answer either. But what are you going to do? People don't want to hear what they're doing is wrong. That's what we said at the beginning. Nobody wants to hear what they're doing is wrong. But if you tell someone, listen, this goes against what the Torah says, but you're the only one that says it. Everyone else says, the person's very nice. It doesn't matter if they're not Jewish, blah, blah, blah. But you're the only one who says the problem. So why do they get bent out of shape? Because they know. They know deep down that you're right. But they're just going to make fun of it and do all kinds of things and say, oh, he's a fanatic. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. Oh, so why are you making fun for? I'm the only person. I'm 1 in a million. 1 in 10 million. More. That will not give you the time of day and say it's okay. That's offensive to people. So what happened to being open-minded? Kaufman's law is people are not open-minded. I met one open-minded person the last 30 years. This person said there was a Jew married to a non-Jew, saying if I look into Torah and I find out it's true and I have to change my life, I'm not willing to do it. That's being honest. I haven't met anyone else since. So do people, not like what we stand for? 100%. So what should we do? At the end of the day, our character traits, we have to be impeccable. We're out there, we're light into nations. We got to be extremely careful. We don't want to give anyone any fodder, anything to say against us. They may say it anyway, but we don't want to cause it. We don't want to be the one to cause it. Right? So in such a case, people can still get offended. Doesn't matter. So what can you do? We're dealt with whatever the hand is we're dealt with. Can we change it? Can't change it. So in my case, I will tell you, the only thing you can do is damage control. That's it. How much damage are you going to cause? Right? So I've gone through a lot of that. And a lot of times there's just nothing to do. I jumped through hoops for certain things I didn't want to, but I did. Found leniencies I can rely on for different things, but certain things, there's nothing to do. There's no way around it. Can't turn the Torah into a pretzel. So people get offended, people get upset. Okay? Try to explain, it's nothing personal, it's this. And people will say, well, you still think I'm a second-class citizen. Okay. What are you going to answer to that? They're going to think it anyway, no matter what you say. So you say whatever. You want to still think it? Think it. Am I going to lose any sleep over because someone said it? No. Is there anything I can do to change their mind? No. So you take it. Just get hit over the head and you move on. I got a lot of holes. I got a lot of dents in my head because of all this. For all, many years going through this. A lot. So what do? You move on. That's the only thing you can do. They're not going to like the answers you give. They're not going to like what you stand for. They're going to feel like they're being judged even if you don't say anything. So, and God forbid there's a scandal, makes you look worse, even though you didn't do it. Okay? There's not much you can do. So, people are not going to like what you stand for. True? That is true. Right? Someone asks, is it possible the person who keeps challenging you to answer these questions trying to understand? No. I shouldn't say no. It depends. There are some people who want answers. There are some people that want answers, and they're truly interested. Other people, they're not interested. They're not interested. They have a certain way of looking at life. They're not going to change. I can have certain people on my Shabbos table for the next 20 years, 30 years. They're never going to change. I'd be shocked if they would. They're never going to change. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much we sing. It doesn't matter the words of Torah that are said. No, it's not going to matter. They want to do what they want to do. That's it. They will ask questions here and there. They're like, wow, I never knew that. Okay. Are they asking questions because they want truth? No. Right? These people asking questions, I was like, oh, I heard this. Never heard this before. Is it true? So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Right? If they're asking questions trying to understand, it's a different issue. That's a totally different issue. I'm not talking about people like that. They're not interested. I'll give you an example. Someone says, mentions something about life after death. Life after death. They're like, yeah, it's a Jewish concept. There is life after death. It's like, okay, give me the short answer. That means I had 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, they're not going to listen anymore. I said, okay, I'll send you a link. I sent them a link. They watch it? No idea. No idea. So if they want an answer, say, oh, I got something I can show you. Want to see it? They'll either say yes or no. If they say yes, great. Here, take a look at this. Whatever they do with it, they do with it. But, some people may want an answer. They may want information. But some people are just going to make fun and keep saying the same things over and over again. They're not looking for answers. It depends on the person. You have to see. That's what we're doing. People are different. Some people are just going to, someone says, where's God during the Holocaust? I got a great book. It's called Hasidic Tales of the Holocaust. You want to read it? No. It's just a question I ask Orthodox Jews, makes them fidget. Okay, so I don't think most people are that hostile. There are some that are. I'm not going to say none. Most people ask questions to ask questions. Well, most people are not that hostile. But if they keep asking the same questions, maybe they do want an answer. Right? Again, you have to see where the question's coming from. You have to see what they want. If they want an answer, you can send them material. If they're just asking just to egg you on, you can see right through them. They're not really interested in an answer. Because they say, listen, I heard of a great book. You want to read it? Or I got a great video I can show you. You want to see it? So if they're not interested, then they're not interested. Then Right? But, if they want an answer, they deserve an answer. If that's what they want. if they keep asking the same question, you got to ask them why you keep asking the same question. I gave you information. They can say, well, I don't like that information. Give me other information. They can, many things. Many things. Someone asks, one second. Does the oral Torah say that rabbis have the authority after the Torah under certain conditions? The Torah says, right? Let's make clear. The Torah says that you got to listen to Kohanim in every generation, right? Whatever they say, you have an obligation to listen, right? Whether left or right, right is left. That's what the Torah says. So who are the Kohanim in every generation? They're the rabbis. Now, someone's going to say, but the Torah says you can't add or subtract. So what are the rabbis doing? They're explaining what it means. Because the Torah says many things. It's a document that says many things, but doesn't give any information. The Torah says don't kill. Okay. What about in self-defense? Is that murder? The Torah doesn't say. What about euthanasia? They'll say, no, that's mercy. We're putting grandpa out of our misery and out of his own misery. That's murder. Right? But the Torah doesn't tell me. The Torah tells me to take certain things on sukkah. They tell me to take a nice smelling fruit. No one's going to think it's a lemon on steroids. Right? The citrons and esrog. So many things the Torah says we don't have answers for. Doesn't tell me. The law book. Do this, don't do that. But what are the definitions? What's a sukkah? The Torah doesn't say. Does it have walls? It's got a roof. The Torah doesn't say. Right? So the rabbis have the right, right, to explain what the Torah means. And Moshe Rabbeinu, had all that information on Mount Sinai, because you have to ask the question. After the first year in the desert, for 38 years, Moshe Rabbeinu was teaching the Jews Torah. Now, there are, let's say, 3 million people, give or take, in the desert. How long would it take, Moshe, a committee, and tens of thousands of people, let's say, he trained in order to teach everybody the 613 commandments? How many years? 5 years? 10 years? I don't think it's going to take 38 years. 38 years is a long time to teach 613 commandments. So what's he teaching them? He's teaching them moral law. He's teaching what the mitzvahs mean, right? And all the ramifications, right? So the rabbis have the authority, to alter the Torah. They can't change it. They can't add or subtract. They can't say, well, you got to put on an extra string of tzitzis. That you're not allowed to do. Or add an extra compartment in tefillin. Can't do that. Or take one out. Can't do that. They can't alter that. Right? They can explain what the Torah means, but they can't change it in the sense where, they're adding or subtracting to the mitzvahs. Making a fence around the Torah, it's a different issue. There are a lot of things in the laws of Shabbos that are rabbinical. But why are they rabbinical? They're rabbinical because they want to make sure people are not going to transgress a more severe prohibition. So anything that's similar to a Torah prohibition that was done in the tabernacle and the Mishkan, then the rabbis forbade it, because you might forget it's Shabbos, or you might not think it's the same thing, and you might do something worse. You might come to a Torah prohibition. Some people say, hey, that's adding and subtracting to the Torah. Who says? They're making a fence around the Torah to make sure you don't do something worse. That's worse. That's not adding. Again, the Messianics will say that. Christians will say that. Oh, that's adding. Or, even Jews will say that. Come on, isn't that adding to the Torah? They're making up these laws. They're not adding laws. They're making a fence around the Torah. It's a huge difference. Huge difference. Yeah, let me see. There are other questions here. I hope that answers the question. Should we look at them with compassion, try and help them? Yeah. The question is, but the question is, you're having a discussion, or let's say it's a one-way discussion, and all they're doing is ridiculing and making fun. Right? Is ridicule used to shock them back to their senses? It depends where they're holding. So I listened, many years ago. Rabbi Orlovsky should be well. He's got like snappy questions, snappy answers, like all the main questions in Judaism. I went through this, a number of times. So it's not about ridicule. They make fun of you, you make fun of them. That's, two wrongs don't make a right. You're pointing something out. This person has said, well, Is there a problem with trichinosis? No. You're eating a bagel. I wanted to show them the reality that what their question was foolish. Right? If I gave a snappy answer. Now, sometimes snappy answers don't help because they're not interested anyway. Right? So you could do, and I would love to do this. I would tell you so many times how hard it is to keep quiet. I probably got merit that I can't imagine the reward just for keeping my big mouth shut, because you get tired of hearing stupid things. I get tired. Let's say better. I get tired of hearing stupid things. And this, but it's not just stupid things. It's what people say they don't have respect. See, you have to go out of your way to respect them. It's like walking on eggshells, someone here points out. You're walking on eggshells, and you have to show all the respect, and they can just smack you upside the head as many times as they want. And they can say whatever they want. That is annoying. That I can tell you is annoying. I've been through it many times. It's one thing I can't stand. Is that, one of my personal pet peeves. Someone's got no knowledge, zero knowledge, and you have to respect what they say, but they don't respect one word you have to say. One word comes out of your mouth, they just make fun of. Oh, come on, you believe that? Come on, isn't that really archaic? What's the matter? You think I got cooties? People will say this. People definitely said it to me. So I'm not alone here. I'm sure it's been said to other people also. Come on, don't you think it's a little archaic? Isn't there more important things than to believe in God? No. Right? That's the answer. No. Right? But, you have to show them the respect. And sometimes, even if it's parents, you got to show them a certain level of respect. No matter what they say in certain cases, without going into all that. But the problem is, you got to show the other person all the respect in the world, and they can say whatever they want to you. That's very hard to take. And especially for me, A, I have answers, usually. And B, I take pride in what I do. Now I live my life, and I'm not going to take it lying down or sitting down. Someone who's got a 25 IQ in Judaism. Sorry. What do I have to do? I have to be a beanbag. I have to be a dish rag. Sometimes. Could be that's what my soul has to go through. I have no idea. It's annoying. I don't know if you can hear that in my voice. It's annoying. Okay. Right? So I'm not saying you just, you be obnoxious to them because they're obnoxious to you. I'm not saying that. Right? Sometimes you give them, I'll give another example. I'm not going to say what exactly the case is. Someone made a really nasty comment. Nasty. Well below the belt. To me and my wife. I don't know, I was first married. We answered this person in 3 seconds. 3 seconds, flatten this person like a pancake. The person didn't show respect. The person was a pig. The capital P. Total pig. So we answered her. In less than 3 seconds. I said, oh, you must know about this. Oh, you must know about that. Oh, but then no idea. No idea at all. So you're going to say, well, what did that accomplish? So you might say it didn't accomplish anything. The person never bothered us again. Or was much more careful what they said. This is just this is something, it was well below the belt. Well below the belt. So what was the best thing, years later? You don't even answer such a thing. You just look disgusted at the person. That's it. Better not to answer, probably. Right? We gave the person an answer, and that was it. There's no mitzvah to get pounded on. None. I'm not saying you speak Russian against them. Other thing, I'm not saying you be obnoxious to be obnoxious. But you're right. This is a huge test. Huge. A huge test where you got to show the other person all the respect, and they can say whatever they want to, and they can dump all over you. That's a very hard thing to do. So the best thing I would say, just keep your mouth shut. You get the unbelievable amount of reward. Sometimes it's hard. Right? But that's the reality. You can't get hot under the collar. They'll say, I was just kidding. Oh, come on. What are you getting so upset about? Yeah, because they say something obnoxious. Like, I shouldn't answer that. Or should I answer that? I deserve to be talked that way. They say, come on. You're too sensitive. You're right, I'm too sensitive. You don't have a right to say that. And there are some people they don't care. They don't care one iota. You're offended, you're not offended. They'll say what they want. A lot of times, not worth saying anything. Probably. Right? I would think if you say something that like shocks them a little bit, maybe they'll think twice about saying something in the future. Maybe. Or maybe not. It's not to shock them just to shock them. It's to make them think. Oh, come on, isn't there a problem with trichinosis? No. By the way, you're eating a bagel, so it has nothing to do with trichinosis. That answered the question. They didn't come back for seconds after that. Put them in their place. I said, no. They weren't asking it to be obnoxious, not in this case. They asked it in general as a question. Oh, isn't this a problem? No, it's not, actually. By the way, you're eating a bagel. That was it. It's like they didn't hear what I said anyway. And he said, okay, pass the salt. Whatever. Didn't do anything. But if I feel, someone's going to ask a question, I'll answer it. Even if they don't like the answer. Even if I don't necessarily like the answer. I'll answer something just to open up a conversation. Might be a waste of time. But I'm not going to be obnoxious. Sake. Maybe I'll fail somewhere down the line. It could be. It means we're human. Had something a while ago. So for a long time, I was very good. Very, very good. And someone said something, I just like, come on. I felt I had an obligation to answer. Probably shouldn't have. Probably just should have let it go. But, you have to know when to let things go also. My problem is you hear like one thing, two things, okay, you can let it go. It depends what it is. Once you've heard like the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 10th, and you just sit there like, come on. Like, enough's enough. You have to know when to answer also. You have to know what to answer. But, who says you have to be, you have to be constantly attacked? I've had it. I don't deal with this stuff anymore. I've had people say something, I just, I'll pick my wars, so to speak. If I feel I have to say something, I will. If not, that's it. I'm not gonna get all cooked up for nothing. If I feel I have to, you have to see. First of all, you have to see if the person asks a question, if they deserve an answer, what's it gonna do, right? And someone, like I said, I mentioned this another class. Someone said something, whatever, it's kind of below the belt in a certain way. I don't think they meant it that way, but certainly could have taken it that way. I just, I was seething inside, wanted to say something, and just, let it go. It's not going to be listened to anyway. So, I've learned over the years the hard way. Definitely the hard way. What to answer, what not to answer, this, that. And sometimes I just get so fed up, I just say something because it's annoying. Totally annoying. Most times I've learned. Just keep your mouth shut. And you're not going to get anything out of it anyway. There's no point. True. That is very true. Right? Sometimes your evil inclination gets the best of you, and you're just like, I don't need to take this. I don't need to hear this. I don't deserve to be spoken to in such a way. Let's say. I said that to someone. I probably shouldn't have. They're like, getting ordered around. I'm like, what am I, your dog? I'm a slave over here. I'm not saying you should say it, but it can be kind of annoying. They're not asking, oh, please, could you help me with this? Oh, like getting ordered around like a dog. That's how they talk. Well, I'm not a dog. Well, at least not the last time I checked. Maybe, I don't know, maybe one of my Gilgulim, one of my reincarnated souls. Maybe I was a dog. I don't know. I don't deserve to be talking like that. Nobody deserves to be talking like that. So once I just threw out, I said, say it in a nice way. If you say it in a nice way, I'll do it. But I shouldn't even said that. I just should have let it go. That's the way they talk. That's it. Well, it's not, again, person's in a certain state of mind or whatever the case is. You don't like to be treated like a dog. Not everyone has to be treated like a dog. All right, but that's the way the person speaks. Okay. So now that's the way they talk. So, okay, that's the way they talk. But sometimes, even if that's the way they talk, and even if you know it up here, you don't want to hear it. You don't want to feel like you're a dog. Someone's going to say you're exaggerating. No, I'm not exaggerating here. That's what I said. One time I said, I'm not a dog. And I'm not your slave. You want to ask me to do something very nice. Ask in a nice way. Or just order me around like I'm a piece of the furniture. That I'm going to take offense to. Other times, I let it go. But who said you have to be, you have to be a dish rag? You get tossed around. Who said you should talk to anyone that way? You want something done, ask him in a nice way. You're not a drill sergeant. You want, so I'll say like this. You want respect? You want me to respect? You respect me. You treat me like a person, not a dog. Right? Some people that, like, oh, what are you getting so upset about? Because your tone of language. Now, again, would it be better? Would God have been much happier if I didn't say anything? Yeah. Would it have been better for myself not to say anything? Yeah. God's going to hold it against me. Not going to hold it against me. It's what happened. Right? One time I didn't say anything. One time I did say something. It's hard. These are tests. These are tests we go through. Right? It won't matter. It's not a question of giving a snappy answer or this or that. It's offensive. Someone should learn proper manners. You got to say, but person's much older. They're who they are. They're stuck in their way. Okay, I'm still not a dog. That doesn't change anything. No. So your mentality is that's the way they talk. That's the way you should look at it. That's the way they talk. They don't really mean it that way, but that's the way they talk. Okay. But sometimes you get stuck and you get annoyed. You don't want to be bossed around. You want someone to have respect. And if someone doesn't treat you with respect, it's hard. It's extremely hard to even look them in the face. It's hard. So you're going to say, don't you listen to your own advice? Don't you say, well, aren't these people have a 25 IQ? Yeah. So that helps a lot. Helps a lot. I'm not going to say 100% I always do the right thing. But, that mentality helps because then, there are times you might have to say something. Someone brings up a conversation. Person got younger kids. And they bring up a conversation that should not be talked about in front of younger kids. Not even in front of older kids. Change the subject. You nip it in the bud. That's what you have to do. If they keep going on, say, listen, I had this also. Someone mentioned something. I nipped it right in the bud. It's okay. We're not going there. And they started going on. I said, we're not going there. That's it. That's it. And that stopped it. So I don't come out smelling like a rose in these situations. Trust me. But, there are things you got to protect your kids from. You got to be careful. But it is a very hard thing. If you're living a certain life and you just totally get disrespected, it's very hard to have respect for such a person. Doesn't matter if they're parents, their kids, their siblings, co-worker, it doesn't matter who they are. It's just very hard because you can't say anything. And they can say whatever they want. That's, you're being totally disrespected. Extremely hard. Right? Someone asked, what about hermaphrodites, people with both sets of genitals? So that's a different issue. So normally we say in such a case, you have someone who's something like that. So you got to see, you got to see which way to go. Either you're going to be, male or female. That does happen. I mean, it is brought up, right? Talmud brings up many times these type of situations. So the question, so that's the whole question. That's the whole question what you do. Today, I think what they would do is they would see which way, person should be. Right? How they determine that, They're going to be male or female? That's a good question. That's a good question. If they have both, then yeah, they have to be one or the other. Can't be both. You have to, again, it's not like you don't have such cases. Like I said, Talmud brings down, many, many times. They male or female, they fulfill their obligation this way or that way. Right? The whole question. It's the whole question. Like I said, I think today they're not going to keep both. They're going to go one way or the other. Yeah, so we're going to go one way or the other. Someone here points out, very true. Respect is not just around. You can waste a lot of time, right, having empty debates. True. You can have family members, just conversations go nowhere, totally disrespect you. You're right. Right. Most cases, it's a total waste of time. I would agree. So in these type of situations, the person has to make a decision. They want these relationships or they don't. Nothing really in between, because a lot of times it goes nowhere. Usually. I'm not gonna say always, but a lot of times. A lot of times. The best thing, and if someone tells me this a lot, best thing is just keep your mouth shut. I said, you're right. I said, that is the best thing, and most of the time that's the case. There are times, again, I'm not the only one. Plenty of other people go through the same thing. Maybe have it worse than I've had it over the years. But sometimes it's hard. There's someone like me who just, it's gonna answer, it's gonna say something, it's very hard to keep your mouth shut. Very hard. Right. So yeah, I've learned my lesson the hard way. And most times it's just gonna let it go. If it's something I feel that I have to say, I will. Right. But I want to make it very rare. Like once in a blue moon. If I have to, I will. If not, there's no, if I don't have to, there's no point. And things will go much smoother. But sometimes you're in a position you may not have a choice. Okay, but you got to pick those times. Most times somewhere points out, you just let it go, right? 100%. It's only better. Someone asked, can you be born with both? Sorry, 1 second. Someone asked, can you be born with both? Yeah. Again, it does happen. There are cases where a person can be born, with both. That's true. That it's happened. So it's not like it, I don't think it's very common. Right? Can you be born with the wrong one? I don't know. If a person really should have been, let's say, a girl, and they turn them into a boy, so, that'd be kind of a problem. But things happen, mistakes can be made. That is true. God knows what he's doing over here. Right? So you can ask the question, why would God create somebody like that? It's got both. It's a good question. Right? Not that we have any answers. Right? But it leads to a lot of questions. A lot of, definitely a lot of questions. Why does, why are children born disformed? Right? Why are they mentally challenged? Why they get diseases? You get all these questions. Right? And simple answer has nothing to do with them. It's not punishment. It has to do with, the reincarnated soul, what they have to go through, and, what they have to fix up in this world. Right? Because again, punishment only comes to the age of 13, 12 or 13, or the age of 20. So it can't be punishment. Can a person be born with the wrong one? No. God knows what he's doing. Could they choose the wrong one? They could. They can make a bad decision. That's true. And then the repercussions are what they are. Right? Can you be born? There's no such thing as being born with anything that's wrong. Anything that person is born with, that's what that soul is coming to them. Because when the soul, soul goes in the body, so God puts the body for that soul. So yeah, can a person be born in a messed up body? 100%. But it's not the punishment of the body. Sorry, it's not it's a punishment of the soul. It can't be punishment of the body, punishment of that child, because there is no punishment at that point. There's only punishment later. Now, it's God, God forbid, does God make a mistake and do this? No. Everything is calculated. Now, you can tell me, what if they choose the wrong sex? What if they decide to fix the person? They decide to be a boy, really should have been a girl. Okay, so that's a mistake in this world. Is that what God wants? No, but he allows it to happen. He can definitely allow it to happen. Right? So, yeah, that's the whole question. But bottom line is, we're given whatever we're given because that's what God wants. That's for the sake of the soul, what the soul has to go through. Right? I mean, it's not what we want, but that's what we have to go through. Right? That's the whole thing also. Who our siblings are, our parents, is that we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice how we're born. Right? We don't have a choice what we're born with. We don't have a choice anything. Right? So God's not making a mistake here. Everything's calculated. We just don't understand how it all works. We're not seeing the bigger picture. And you say, wow, these parents did a lot and this and that, and they had a child that's messed up. It wasn't their fault. It wasn't like, a genetic problem. I know someone, first child they had was Down syndrome. The other children are normal. Why did it happen that way? Don't know. Don't have an answer. There are no answers here. So, that's the soul that God put in that body. Why? Come on, if I knew that, you think I'd be doing this live? I'd be world famous. Right? We don't know. Nobody knows. We can say, well, it's probably what the soul has to go through, but that's it. No rhyme or reason. We don't know. God directs every last thing. The soul in a certain body, that soul, it's going to be part of the body, which, again, it's going to have certain parents, it's going to have certain siblings, it's going to go through certain socioeconomic thing, whatever it is, totally 100% not in control. And what happens later, not in control. Sickness, this, not in control. So there's no mistakes here. Totally no mistake. We could make a mistake. Let's say the doctor speaks to the parents. They say, well, it's got more of this, than that. So, make it male or make it female. And really, let's say it should have been the other. So man made the mistake. God didn't change it. God didn't stop it. So if that's the case, so why did it happen that way? Because he allowed it to happen. He allowed it to happen. And it didn't stop it. Okay? It's a different issue. We don't know. We can make certain decisions God doesn't want, and God stops us. Right? God puts us in a certain path. And we made that right decision. Very good. But let's say a person made the wrong decision and God didn't stop them. Okay? So you made the wrong decision. You went down the wrong path. Okay? You're going to pay the price. God didn't stop you. Maybe a lot of other things God did, but in this case, he didn't. So the other ramifications, we have no idea. We have absolutely no idea. I give one example here. You take a look at, Abraham and Isaac. Both had children that were horrific. Right? Yeah, we're still paying the price for Ishmael. Right? We're going to pay that price till the end of days. With the Arabs. With the Muslims. We're going to pay that price. And you got Esau. We're still in that exile of Esau. Look what he brought to the world. And Esau is Edom. Edom is Rome. Look what Rome has done for the world, right? In general, and there's no explanation. Very hard to understand. They also had, two righteous sons as well. So that's very hard, very hard to understand. They have, that they had kids like that. So a lot of things, a lot of things. Why bad things happen to good people? Why evil people have it easy? There are many, many things we'll never fathom. We'll never, ever fathom, until we're no longer in this world. Till we're a pure soul. Then we can understand. Before that, almost impossible. Some things here and there, but almost impossible. Yeah. Any other, someone that points out I'm not the only one who's had to bear things right. I never said I was. Right? I'm just saying personal experience. Right? I'm sure other people have gone through different things, probably worse things I've gone through. No question. No question. I can tell you, like, over the years, I learned my lesson mostly. So I'm very careful, what things I'll bring up or won't bring up. But it's not going to say it's easy, especially if you're a stickler for the truth. You can't stand things that aren't truthful, and you can't stand people that lie or misrepresent, or just people who are obnoxious and show you disrespect. That's probably, and I can't say 100% for sure, but that's probably one of the hardest things. Or almost the most difficult thing in my life, which could be what my soul is doing in this world, is that you have to show respect for others that have no respect for you. That's probably almost the hardest thing for me to do. You say, well, it's hard for anyone. Yeah, okay. Maybe. I'm just saying, for me, it's I'll hear what someone says. I'll try and answer this, that, and I see they don't show respect. I'm just like burning, but okay. I've learned over the years, you just let it go. You just got to let it go. Sometimes I'll say something, even if it goes nowhere. Sometimes I'll give a rebuke, even if it goes nowhere. It doesn't matter. Right? But the point is, it's hard. I'm not saying I'm the only one that has it hard. I'm sure plenty of people have had it hard in other ways. But for me, that's one of the hardest things. One of the hardest things. And I'm not going to say I've overcome it 100%. Right? It's what it is. Right? And people hate hearing that. It is what it is. Okay. Right? But it burns me. It's how do you answer someone or have a conversation? They totally disrespect you. They don't care what you say. Like, so when you speak to them, good question. But it's hard. I can't stand people misrepresenting. I can't stand people who talk out of their elbow thinking they know something they don't. I said to someone once, probably shouldn't have said this either. A person made a statement. I said, my 7-year-old could answer you. My 7-year-old knows more than you do. You're not embarrassed by that? Like, you have a second grade, not even, Jewish education. I have a PhD, pilot higher and deeper, or Papa has dough. Like, you're arguing with someone who's got a PhD in Judaism. Someone had a PhD in physics, that you would respect. You wouldn't say, I read an article on Wikipedia and I'm going to knock off, Stephen Hawking. You never have the guts to do that. Because if Stephen Hawking was alive, he'd wipe the floor with you. So why do you think he'd do it in Judaism? Because it's not real. It's all make-believe. It's all fun. It's all this. They don't believe in it. Because they believed in it, it might be different. So they want to make fun of it. But, I have pointed out, I just will say, sometimes I'll point out, I'm like, that's the argument you're giving. So what about this? What about that? No, making fun. Just say, some people don't want to hear it, whatever. But they, someone's got a PhD, they don't respect it. That's like incredulous. Anything else, they respect it. Get a PhD in anything else. Science, math, I don't know. And most things, they respect it. They wouldn't make fun of it. They wouldn't make fun of you and say, oh, you really think you know? I know better. I know better than most lawyers. Come on. You ever study law? There are people who say things that are just, they go against Kaufman's 615th commandment, don't be a moron. They sound stupid. Oh, I think that, really? You researched it? You know anything about it? Like someone said, the problem with the Middle East, said Jews are in Israel. A Jew told me this. So I said, do you believe the Albanians deserve to live in Albany? In Albania, yeah. The English, in England, yeah. Italians in Italy, yeah. Jews in Israel, no. So I said, okay, let's go back. Albanians in Albania, yes. The English in England, yes. Australians in Australia, yeah. Jews in Israel, no. I said, okay, let me ask. I'll ask you a historical question. Where do you think the Jews should have gone? Where should they go? So the answer was, I can't make this up. This person said the Jews should have stayed in Europe. Another person said, now, obviously I'm a student of history, right? But I said, do you realize, do you know anything about, modern history, recent history? It's like, what do you mean? So I said, did you ever hear of the Holocaust? I said, Jews tried to stay in Europe. They got gassed, they got murdered, brutally murdered, butchered and all this. I said, they tried to stay in Europe. They, oh yeah, good point. How could you forget? How as a Jew could you forget the Holocaust? You explain to me how a Jew could forget the Holocaust. So I didn't even get excited. That's what I answered. And that's what I answered. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. But they know nothing about nothing. Nothing about nothing, not about history. Zero. Forgot about the Holocaust. Yeah. And, we've done the worst thing to the Arabs, and it's apartheid, and it's this. And then, do you know anything about Jewish history? We stole the land from the Arabs. Mark Twain? You heard of Mark Twain? Wrote Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer, Samuel Langhorne Clemens, as he's known, came to Israel in the late 1800s. Late 1800s, nobody here. Place was flattened like a pancake, exactly what the Torah says, what the prophets say. Where are the Arabs? Oh, they're in Syria. They're in Lebanon. They're in Transjordan. They're in other places. There are people here, marauders, it's that. Were they an entity? Did they just boot them out of Jerusalem? Were they an entity? They were nothing. Zero. People know that. They know who Samuel Langhorne Clemens is. Certainly know who Mark Twain is. But if you ask most Jews, they ever visit Israel? They have no idea. They would have no idea if he ever visited Israel or not. Not only that, okay, he visited Israel. This is what he said. So where are the Arabs? Where are the Arabs in the 1900s? Before the English got here. You have the Turks, the Ottomans. Where were they? Where were they? Yeah, it's called revisionist history. So people talk about nothing they know about. Oh, they stole the land. Where did they steal the land from? Rothschild bought the land legally. They bought the land. Many places they bought legally. 100%. Others they had to fight for. They got attacked. Okay. But there's a heck of a lot of land they bought. So where was the entity that was here? Nobody was here. It's crazy. It's just nuts. Most people are not aware of that or any of these things. So why are they big time leftists? Why do we should give the land back to them? Because they're nuts. Because God put this crazy idea in their head. And that could be a way, God forbid, to get us out of the land by giving it back to the Arabs. Thank God at least it's going to be a right-wing government. Well, that's nuts. That's totally nuts. And they, not to mention they've broken every agreement over the last 30 years. Not to mention that. They have a stake in the land. Where do they have a stake in the land? We're not even saying what the Torah says. They were never here. One of the single biggest lies in the history of man. Again, I'll put Christianity evolution up there also. This is one of the biggest. I don't know anything, these people. Especially what's going on in college campuses and everything else, where apartheid, where this, or even let pro-Israel people speak. I mean, it's nuts. This lie has been perpetuated for generations. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Well, doesn't that mean there's a problem with us and we're getting punished for it? Yeah. But it's a huge lie. It's what the Arabs do. They lie. That's one of their main things. Besides stealing, they lie. They perpetuate this lie for years. For years. Convinced the media. They've convinced everybody else. It's our own fault. Look at history. Just look at history, for goodness sakes. They don't. They believe what everyone feeds them. Yeah. Any other questions? As I always say, we never get far here. Yeah, I'm going to stop here. I do this every Saturday. Pirke Avos, Ethics of Our Fathers. This is Mishna. This is chapter 2, Mishna 13, part 8. There's definitely going to be a part 9, part 10, probably part 11. Next week, it's going to be the normal time, be an hour later for anyone outside of Israel, since going to change the clocks. America's going to change the clocks tonight. So all the classes will be at normal times next week. Anyone has any questions, find me on Facebook at Michael Chaim Kaufman, or Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism. You can send me an email, rabbichaimkaufman@gmail.com, RBBIChaimCoffman@gmail.com. Wish everyone a good beginning of the day.